They told you to chase the dream, but they never told you what it would take. The pressure, the sacrifice, the sleepless nights. Every dream comes with a nightmare, and if you're not ready for both, then you're not ready at all. This isn't just another podcast. This is the truth behind the journey, the highs, the lows, the dreams, and the nightmares.
Welcome back, Dreams and Nightmares podcast. I'm your host, Jesse. Across from me, I got DC. Introduce yourself. Remind the people who you are.
My name is DC. You already know. Co-founder, Redcon Security. Co-founder, Creative Control. Serial entrepreneur. Today we got my brother.
In the middle, DP. What's going on, man? What's going on?
Appreciate you fellas for having me, man.
Appreciate you for coming through.
Of course.
Hey, y'all, what's going on? DP here. You know what I'm saying? Serial entrepreneur. Like my boys here. So, thanks for having me.
Of course. If you guys haven't noticed the format already, every week, every episode, we have a different entrepreneur. Right now, it's majority local individuals from Boston, from Massachusetts, people who have been hustling, people who've been making a name for themselves, been grinding. And we want DP to come in here, tell his story, let people know who he is, what he does, how he got there, and maybe drop a few gems, give some advice for the people. So, DP, let's get started. Let's tell the people who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
Got you. So, I grew up in Boston, Roxbury, Dorchester to be specific. And what I do now is I manage pro athletes. I'm part of a company called Brunswick Sports Management. Shout out to my partner, Julia Aiken, and our whole team over there and all of our clients with Brunswick. And then I also own my own marketing company called DP Marketing and Apparel. That's where I manage, my violinists. I do events and stuff out of that space of my life. And yeah, man, if you, pretty much you name it, I've probably done it or made money doing it. And so, I'm here.
Appreciate that. So you just kind of gave a little bit of glimpse of what you do. What you guys just heard was a very little. Tell the people kind of like how you got started on this path, how you ended up where you are today. Like, what was the initial start? What was the moment, the time where you decided, hey, this is what I'm doing with my life, this is what I'm doing with my career, and what you did to get there?
Got you. So ever since I was young, I never see myself being in corporate, never see myself doing a 9 to 5. And my mom can attest to it. My family, it just wasn't in the cards for me. Did I work jobs? Yes, of course. I worked for the W Hotel. I worked in retail with Saks, Neiman Marcus, those type of places. I think those places prepared me on how to communicate in the world outside of, where I grew up at in the inner city. So, I was meeting different people from different backgrounds, whether it was from Europe, whether it was different parts of Asia, Middle East, right? So I got to see culturally what, money's green, right? So essentially, like, I knew if you could be valuable in the world, then you can make anything happen, right? So networking was a big thing for me. So, growing up, I was into sports heavy. I was always into fashion, different things like that. And it really clicked for me when I was in college. Football didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. It helped me get to school. It helped me stay out of trouble, get out of my neighborhood. And when I was in school and I had my injury, I was just like, you know what, let me just rely on, what's in front of me. So after pursuing football and JUCO, et cetera, I got into Boston College. I started studying marketing and communications. And I was in class one day, and in my class was the owner of New Balance's son right next to me. So, it clicked for me where it was like his dad did everything he could to put his family in position, and his son's going to go on and his kids or whatever. So I had my oldest daughter. She's now 16, but she was, on the way. And I was just like, yo, this isn't going to cut it. Like, I have to become the resource for the people around me, and be able to help them climb the ladder. So I just started doing little things here and there, pro bono, not even making money on a lot of stuff. One of the biggest things for me was my younger brother at the time. He was into the music world in Boston and stuff, and rapping. And he did everything on his own, like recorded himself, did the marketing, got his merch, like all this stuff. You know what I mean? And I would watch him do it, and I was just like, you know what? Let me partner. Let me help my little bro out. Whatever I learned in school, bring it to life and get behind him. That way he can focus on the music. I'll do the other stuff, finding the blogs, creating business strategy. So in reality, he was really like my first client. We did everything. Like we were doing tour buses that would lead to shows. And so we would create a party bus where your ticket came with a hoodie or a t-shirt, and then it came with like your entrance on the bus. And so whenever we had shows that were outside of Boston, we were bringing like 60, 70 people with us on this party bus and going to the shows and already showing up with
60, 70 people.
Yeah. And then we would have a section, right? So we did this a few times. We just had like just different marketing things that, you know, I knew we weren't seeing here and I knew no one was doing. And just like, you know, creating it. And then so like little things, those were little small successes, in my opinion. And we went really, really hard, man. We worked with, you know, like shout out to Mike Bivens, who's a mentor of mine and very close with my brother. But there was a point where he, you know, we were possibly going to sign with him. We were on the road with him and his group for a minute. So I learned a lot from being around him and how, you know, he's a legend. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who discovered Boyz II Men.
New Edition.
Was a music mogul from the city. So like watching how he would operate in the music space. I remember when we went to SOBs in New York City, but it's like huge hip hop event. And the love that he got from everybody in New York was crazy to me because I'm like, yo, he's from Boston. But it was wild. You would have thought he was from out there. So just seeing things like that, I'm a person, I don't really talk much. So like even like being on the podcast, like it's rare for me to do that. So I like to watch and observe from, you know, from people that I look up to and can take and learn from. So that was an experience in itself. So that's, you know, so the music space was really where I got the start of understanding like different businesses, fast paced. And then when that ended, I got into working at Bijou. So, you know, shout out to George, another mentor of mine, the originator of Bijou, so y'all know.
For those who don't know what Bijou is, explain that to them.
So Bijou is the mecca of Boston's nightlife, to me. You know, it was one of the greatest spaces that if you were into fashion, if you was into hip-hop, if you was into, you know, even house music, etc., like Bijou was very welcoming. Didn't matter what background you came from. It was just that space where the city cultivated that. This is before the Grand, this is before Big Night, all of that stuff. They're no offense to them, but they were down in Connecticut. They knew nothing about up here. So Bijou was the kingdom of nightclub scene out here for us.
It's hard to get into Bijou.
Yeah, you couldn't even get in.
You couldn't even get
you
in.
needed to have credentials, face card, no Instagram stuff.
Nah, you had to wear hard bottom shoes. Outfit had to be on point.
It was different. But that experience with Bijou, man, was amazing for me. I actually, one thing of that, you know, because we talk about like the entrepreneurship, like when I first started, I wasn't even making money like that. I knew where I wanted to get at within the building and learning, you know, and growing. But like, it started off like nickels and dimes. You know what I'm saying? Because it's you got to find a space. You can't just, you know, expect it to be like, oh, I'm making thousands, or I'm making this off. It don't work like that. And a lot of, and believe me, a lot of stuff that y'all see and you think people are killing it, they're not.
They're not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of slow nights. There's nights where bottle girls are going home with $0.
No dollars, exactly.
I've seen it. Oh, so it's like a lot of stuff just on the outside to y'all may look crazy, but I've, you know, and just like anything else, it has to have its bumps. You got to learn from it. But, you know, that was like home base for me for a minute. And I got to shadow the GMs there, the ownership. And I learned in a fast-paced environment. But I also met people from different places of the world that I'm still tight with to this day. Whether it was athletes, you know, entertainers, businessmen, owners of other restaurants or other clubs from other states. So, you know, George gave me that platform, you know, pretty much gave me the keys to kind of do what I needed to do because he trusted me. And, you know, forever indebted to him, was still super tight to this day, like family to me. So, You know, I wasn't the party type, and people know that. So anybody ever came to the doors to see me, I wasn't on the couches. I wasn't really partying. I was always making sure everybody, I was making sure everybody was straight because my mission was that I wanted to learn
Service is key.
services. Yeah. So, you know,
I want to go back really
Yeah.
quick on something you said. You mentioned your first few jobs, the W, Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth. Was that intentional for you to be put in these high end like environments, or was that something was like? I mean, I know you mentioned you were into fashion at an early age. So did you go? Was that mindful of you? Like, hey, I want to be in these type of environments.
so that's a great question. So it actually clicked for me because when I came back home from California and JUCO with football, and I knew my daughter was on the way, I was doing you know, the census.
Yeah.
You know the
Yeah,
census, like
yeah.
when you go and then
To
you got to
see-
knock up people's
knock the
door and
doors.
then
Oh
register.
yeah,
Like,
okay. Yeah,
so like
yeah.
when I came home, to me, only thing that mattered was making sure that my kid had diapers. She had whatever she needed. So I was working whatever, whether it was the census. I was going around knocking on doors, getting paid. I took temporary jobs, like, you know what I'm saying, seasonal. And I happened to land a seasonal job with Nike on Newberry Street. So for me, I never went to Newberry in high school or anything like that, which is crazy because it was only a half.
It's like
only,
the other side of America.
yeah,
they
it's
say.
like you know what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
like my high school, you could see Back Bay, the towers, all that from the back of the football field where I played. You know what I'm saying? But I never went to Newberry, and so when I started working at Nike Town, that was a dope experience within itself because that's where now it's like, oh, I'm going to the Neiman Marcus and the Saks on my break. I'm going to eat at the high end restaurants during my lunch break. I'm meeting different people that are dressing in suits. So that's how I first learned how to start dressing in suits, was because I would see businessmen moving around. And like I would go on my lunch break in a tracksuit, get treated a certain way. And then I started like, you know what, let me wear a blazer.
Yeah.
Then I'd go and be like, hey, sir, what do you need? So that's when I started learning how to be versatile in the way that I dressed. And so that started landing me to go into, okay, let me see if I can work at Saks. Let me see about working at, you know, I started working at the W at the same time I worked at Nike. So now I'm in both worlds. And then it kind of just took a path of its own. And I was working at Neiman and Saks for probably like the same amount of time I was at Bijou. So I would work so don't get it twisted. I was working like 2-3 jobs at one time, like no sleep. So like I'd work at Saks or Neiman's, right? And then be at the club right after that. And then after the club, doing it all over again. So I'd sleep like 3 hours.
And how long would you say you did that? How many years?
Shit, 7 years.
7 years.
Easily.
Yeah.
Because it's like at the end of the day, I had to make sure my kids were straight, I was straight, and still aiming towards whatever goals was ahead of me that I didn't know were there. Because a lot of times, like, when you are in that entrepreneurial spirit and chasing, you may not know exactly what it is that's going to land you where you're at that
I roll with the
time.
punches.
Yeah, and you just got to keep going with it, stacking your money, saving your money, networking, moving. So I did that for like 7 years. You know what I mean? People would never know that unless they, you know what I'm saying, was around me. But yeah, I was busting like 2-3 jobs at a time, you know, just making stuff, you know, work.
And within those 7 years now, you're meeting different people. You're in different spaces. You're in, you know, you're on Newberry Street, which for those of you who don't know is like a high-end area downtown where all the fancy stores and restaurants are. Like he said, the first time he started to really see, you know, the guys in the suits and the businessmen, that's that district essentially in Massachusetts, for those of you unfamiliar. But you're placing yourself in these environments. You're creating value for yourself,
Right.
Whether you know it or not. But, you know, you're starting to become a recognizable face. And obviously that allowed you to transition into what it is you do now.
Yeah, for sure. So that's exactly what, you know, to harp on that is, at some point, I knew I didn't want to be in the clubs. You know, there were people that I watched, that I looked up to, that were in the club space that are amazing, but I seen what it did to them when they didn't make the transition out. A lot of them got stuck trying to still, you know, create, right? But that age gap, you know, with that group that's coming up, that younger group that comes up, it starts to change, right? Like everything else, it
Trends
evolves.
change, yeah.
So trends change, all these different things change, and the things that once used to be it are not it,
Not
especially once you involve The internet, right?
Internet,
Like
social media started coming.
you'll have a dude got 100,000 followers, but nobody never met you in the streets. But you lit, right? And that's not. And I don't come from that. I come from like, who are you? What work did you put in?
Mhm.
Do we really know you like that?
Mhm.
So like
Are you
for me,
solid?
yeah. So I knew like for me, the end was coming in with that. So
Mhm.
I got out of the club space before COVID hit.
Mhm.
Started my marketing company, and I started trying to do just like small gatherings and more of like an elevated space. So I started doing like live music
Mhm.
events, etc. And that's how I ended up meeting John, the violinist that I manage. For those that don't know, John is very infamous for playing the violin. He could play anything, but he does hip hop, R&B, etc. And shoot, we've been working now ever since. You know what I mean? And we're doing concerts now. We started off doing, you know, birthday parties, baby showers, small shows. Even that, we started doing stuff for like $100, 150, just to get out. You know what I mean?
Just
Just
to get
like
the name out there.
yeah,
build the
man, because
brand.
it's a grind. Like it just doesn't just hop in your lap. You got to create strategy. You got to plan things the right way. But you do got to have a vision to know like, okay, this is where we're trying to go with it. And so that's when I got out of the club space.
I think it comes from your background too. Like you had said a couple things before, where you're saying in the club scene, there's nights where bottle girls aren't taking home nothing, and you just gotta grind it out. You were working 3 jobs and then going to the club. What gave you that foresight and delayed gratification to be able to be like, and just have the understanding that the relationships and the service you're providing people is worth more than the money you're making right now, to eventually build that grit to be a business owner owning a marketing
I
company?
think it's a combination of a lot of things for me. One, being growing up in a family of 6, I have 5 other siblings, so it's like when you grow in a family where everything is, I don't want to say scarce, but it's like you learn how to survive
Mm-hmm.
in a way, right? Like even being sacrificial to your younger siblings, like, oh, hey, I may not eat at this time.
Mm-hmm.
That's for you, right? Because I was the oldest brother, and oldest boy in my family, and then also just like seeing how hard my mom worked, seeing how hard my dad worked. I know it wasn't easy trying to wake up every morning and get to it and take care of your kids. So, just seeing those as examples. Um, and then again, my background with sports and football, right? Like anybody who knows who's played at a high level of the sport, like I feel like, we could get through anything. So I've done the weightlifting where it's like you feel like the bench is gonna collapse on you, but you gotta get that last rep up. Or you doing sprints and you can't even breathe, but coach expects you to still hit the same marker or time on a 100-yard sprint. Like to me, I put my body through worse things. So being patient, understanding that there's a success on the other end of everything we do, I think that's helped me a lot with that. So you bring up a good point when it comes to that. Like I always know, I believe in me first of all, um, but I also know that like God has big plans on anything that, as long as I'm following what I feel is in my heart and betting on myself, I feel like He's not going to give us the abilities that we have if there's not something on the other end of it. You can't be greedy. You got to understand that you're going to hit bumps and bruises, and not everything's not going to go the way you expect it to. But that's also designed for you to learn and to dig your way out of it, or create your way out of certain situations. Everything's a lesson.
Yeah, I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Sports is a great teacher
Hands
for delayed gratification. So if you're a parent out there, you want to teach your kid grit and how to grind, sports is it, because there's a reason why corporate jobs and entrepreneurship transitions well for athletes, is because you've built that grit over time.
And that competitive nature, man. Like being competitive and having competition is a great thing. I think what happens is we're now in a space where if parents or role models around the youth aren't teaching them that, they're doing them a disservice, because there are still kids and families out there that are extremely competitive. So when you get in an environment where it's you and that other person, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna lose that battle if you weren't put in competitive spaces or pushed, to your hardest abilities.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people we get up here and mention sports. Um, Again, the competitive nature of sports, learning how to win and how to lose,
Yep.
being disciplined, having some form of structure in your life. That typically, if you continue to do that throughout life, it translates
Into the
in
real
some
world.
form or fashion into the real world. You know what
Yep.
I mean? And you may be able to start a business, or you may be able to, you know,
Climb up the
become a
corporate.
climb the corporate
Yeah.
ladder,
Mhm.
whatever it is that you wish to do. I think being in sports, especially at an early age, and staying in sports definitely helps. And again, that's a common theme that
Creates
we've
like
heard.
good leadership skills too, man.
Mhm.
Right? Like, uh, for both male, male and female. Like, at someday you become somebody's boss or your own boss, etc. So you got to be also a good leader, right? Like, sports teaches that teamwork, working together, those type of things. I don't really think there's anything else that goes on early, early childhood that can really teach all those facets in one space. And it doesn't like I've learned to like soccer, right? Like my youngest daughter, she got into soccer, and I realized like you can't even put that ball in the net without using every person on the field at one time. And not everybody can score, but it
Yeah.
takes that entire team
Mhm.
to get you know what I'm saying? Same thing, lacrosse is the same
Lacrosse,
way,
yep.
hockey's the same way. Football, like all you know what I mean, a lot of them, but it's
Yeah.
like you
Takes a
really
team.
realize like how impactful all of that is.
Takes your team. Everybody does their
Yeah.
job, and you'll win. It's great that we was talking about the significance of sports and how the benefits of it. You do a lot within the community, the Boston community of sports. It's not just being the ultimate plug. You have your clients run their own camps, and you put your own time, effort into just giving back. Why is that?
So that's a great question. So for me, we're not giving back. We're doing a disservice to those that come after us. And I know for me personally, growing up, there were several different people that had an impact on me that kept me out of trouble. And I always say that I'm no different than friends I grew up around that I'm still tight with to this day, whether, they pass away or if they're in the streets, etc. Um, I just had certain individuals that put their hands on me at the right time that were like, hey, you're good at this, you should be in this, or, whatever. So I always look back at, those meals that impacted me, that kept me on the right path. And so I feel like, being a dad, I know the type of dad my daughters are going to receive daily, right? The love and the unconditional love that I'll pour into them or my nieces and nephews. But there's a lot of young people that don't get that every day, right? Maybe they come from a single mother household and they're missing male energy in their life that can help them, right? Or they can feel connected to a coach or a male figure that is looking out for community. And by doing that too, right? Like we're already planting seeds that maybe as they grow as young human beings, they may want to get into coaching or may want to reach back someday when they have the ability to, because we don't know who we're gonna be in this world. Even when we're 12, when we're 15, and we still trying to figure out, you know, who we are.
Mhm.
I never, not that I didn't know where I'd be at right now. I would dream of it,
For
right?
sure.
But it's like now I'm in a space where I can contribute and help in ways that I feel really, really matter. And I think community is one of the biggest things for me, whether it's doing turkey drives, across Massachusetts with my guys, giving camps that are free for kids, right? Like it's tough, right? Like a mom shouldn't have to pay 100, 150, 200 to try to put a kid in a camp to see their favorite player or to get learning, right? Like it's already gonna be hard. Some of those kids got to come on the public transit to get there, right? Their mom and dad may be working.
Can't even get there.
So for me, I just want them to see that positivity. There's so much negative that happens in the places that we grow up. Um, like I said, I've seen it all growing up. So that's part of what it is for me. I just want to make sure that, I can influence the next generation, um, have an impact on them. Like I said, you know me, I'm in the coaching football as well. Shout out to the unit. So these pretty much our spring tackle team with a bunch of kids across Massachusetts, like top kids in Mass right now. Right now, we're working with ages 11 and 12. So kids from Everett, Lynn, Boston, South Shore area. They tried out to make the team, but like I enjoy seeing that stuff. So for me, I'll probably be doing and giving back till I die.
Yeah, that's well said. I tell everybody because I had hoop dreams too. I thought I was gonna make it to the league, but I would say this: we didn't make it to the league, but we still made it to the league. So
Yeah.
it's still our service to give back our knowledge. You know what
Facts.
I'm saying? So because you bringing that to some kid, you might have just saved a life. Who knows?
Yeah.
The knowledge that you have because you've seen it all at this point. So it's like you providing that the resources and just your time, it goes a long way.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool too because it's like you don't realize how. Well, one, I believe in like being around the youth because they keep you young.
Oh, for sure.
Like instead of I always used to be like the kids on the train and like the older folks would be like, oh, these kids. But you got to embrace it because they don't know any better, right? They're just having fun, and even the older folks before that, they were having fun. It was just in a different era.
We was like that
Yeah.
too.
We
were
was
all
young.
there, yeah, I was gonna say,
So
I was
you
that
gotta
kid
be
on the
able to
train.
like,
Yeah.
you gotta be able to understand what they're up against. Like they're up against a whole different type of time. They, technology's faster, so they're learning at a higher rate. They got computers right in their hands with these cell phones. So like, instead of coming down on them, try to understand them more. I think that's what's been great for me being like a young dad too, is like being hip to my kids. And even when they think like I'm not hip, I already
Yeah.
know what's going on. But like, being around like the young men that I'm around, it's fun, man. Like they keep you on my toes. They crack their jokes. I love the fact that I'm showing them you can be even with sports, right? Like I work with athletes, etc. But like they'll text me and they'll be like, "Yo, can you tell so and so to follow me?" Or "Coach, I see you at Super Bowl. Can you bring me?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it to me is really dope because it's like I grew up wanting to play pro sports so bad. Like I would give my leg to have played, right? But I'm now around that in a different space, all because of understanding that I could utilize my brain to go in a different direction. Or, God said, "Hey, your body's not making it through this, so we gotta figure out a different way." So it's like,
Still made it.
yeah,
Still made it.
and so it's good to try to be impactful in their life in a different way.
And I think it does something. Honestly, I would say you're more impactful than the athlete because most of the kids aren't gonna make it.
Yeah.
So you're
that's a-
more
that's a
impactful than the
fact.
professional because you look up and idolize like I want to make it to the league, but realistically, most kids aren't gonna make it to the league. So
Yeah.
you're actually more tangible. Like what you're doing is like, oh, I could do that. If I don't make it to the league, I could still be successful. I could
Yeah.
still be in these environments without again making it to the league because I feel like a lot of kids. I've been watching Last Chance U. I
Yeah.
probably watch Last Chance U once a year, but a lot of those kids, all they have is football, all they have is basketball, and they're like, if I don't have this, I have nothing.
Yeah.
And you guys, you're showing people that like, hey, if you don't make it, which most kids won't,
And that's a
you
fact.
still have opportunities to make a change. You could still make a difference in your community. You could still be well off financially. You could still
still
be
have
in these
impact.
circles and in these environments. You could have just as much impact as an athlete, again, in a more tangible fashion.
Yep.
So I think that's very important for kids to see. And you being so close to the community definitely helps out and helps, is going to help these kids realize like, hey, if I don't make it, it's
It's
okay
still-
because
yeah,
I could be like DP.
And that's the key.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
And it's true. Like when you mentioned like Last U, right? Like I was in that environment. So before it even hit Netflix and was a TV thing, like I went to JUCO. So that all that stuff y'all see on that show, it's like that. Like you're sold a dream. You know this is like one of your ways of trying to make it D1, right? Some dudes go in and had bad grades, so they go in there and try to bring their grades up and have another chance. And then some guys go in there to get looked at, differently. The reason I went is because when I was in high school, an adult that I thought had my best interest, because obviously during our time of sports, you couldn't talk to the university.
There was no huddle. There was no
Yeah,
Twitter.
there's no huddle. There's
Yeah.
no Twitter. There's no Instagram. There's no multi-videographers showing up to games and creating highlights. So, like, they had to only communicate with your school and your coach. So I was like, cool. If I get good grades, I ball out, do what I need to do in the field. The adults in my life are going to make sure I'm straight. The adult in my life that was my head coach, whatever he had going on, he never gave me my letters to the schools that were sending letters to the school for me.
You hear that a lot.
And-
Actually.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna say
sad.
that.
It's
and-
sad.
and it's
that
wild
happens a lot
because-
more than people think.
Yeah, and I remember, I never forget it. It was junior year. Me and my guys are getting ready in the locker room, going to practice. Our athletic director comes in with a bag full of letters from out of my coach's mailbox, and we're like, I looked up and I'm like, this ain't good. And he dropped the letter. He's dropped everybody their packs or whatever. And obviously me at the time, like I was one of the star players on my team, and he had like a stack rubbed in a rubber band, and it was UMass Amherst, Syracuse, BC, UConn, Wagner, you name. I had probably every school in the Northeast in that pack, but I had already missed because they were sending these letters when I was a freshman and sophomore, like come visit us. And so at that point, it messed up everything that I recruiting wise for me. So luckily, I had a coach, Skip Bandini, which we're extremely close to this day. One of my favorite people, but he got me over to Curry, and Curry at the time was a powerhouse. They had won like 5-6 straight league championships. They had NFL coaches, so like Mosi Tutupu, who used to play for the Patriots, was one of my coaches. God rest his soul. His son played in the NFL for the Seahawks, and we had a lot of like NFL style coaches there. So I was like, you know what? Skip got me over there. It was a way of getting me out of my neighborhood. But like what spoke to my soul was trying to go D1. Like it's almost like you see these letters in your face, and then you out of school and you know you can succeed at that school.
I can do it. I can.
But
be
in my
there. I
head,
can
I'm
play.
like, for me, I'm somebody who I have to try and do something and satisfy myself. So it's like I didn't want to have any regrets of like, damn, what if I didn't try to attempt to go or do this? So that's what made me jump into the JUCO world and go to California because I was like, yo, I'm gonna try to chase my dream, and if it don't work, it don't work. So, you know, to speak on that, I met dudes when I was out there from Texas, Florida, Hawaii, whatever, and everybody's focus was ball, 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 ball. It was nothing else. There was dudes out there that had kids that were like 2-3 years old back home. I'd be like, yo, you should be with your kid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this dream is only a dream for a certain amount of time. You got to know when to turn it off and, like, really, you know what I'm saying, navigate back to what's more important. So, you know, to say this, me being in the space I'm in now, I do try to push that to kids. Like, you can be in the front office of a sports team. You can be the athletic trainer and be on the field and have all the same perks of being around something that you love to do. So there's so many different jobs within a sports organization that you can embrace and take on, and it doesn't mean you have to be the pro.
Yeah, I always go back to one of my favorite hip hop lines of all time. I'm not the captain of the yacht, but I'm on the boat, Beanie Siegel. And I feel like people underrate and underappreciate, especially nowadays. Everybody wants to be the boss.
Yeah,
Everyone wants
Everybody
to be the
wants
man.
to be the guy.
So my thing is, you know, you could be the man, or you could be nobody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you could be a part of the team that's with the man. You know what I mean? Like, you're still there.
What's 100% of zero?
Exactly. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're still part of that, whether it's a coaching, whatever capacity it's in, you're still associated. So you may not
still
make it to
winning.
the league, you're still winning. You know what? Those trainers on LeBron's team, you know, they still get rings too.
They do.
You know what I
They
mean?
still
And
do.
they're just as
Championship ring.
important, because without them, he's not going to stay in healthy physical condition. He's not going to get, you know, the PT that he needs, whatever the case may be. You're just as important. I think we need to get the youth, these young kids, out of the mindset of, I need to be the boss. I need to be the man.
I need to be the one in front.
Because if I'm not the one in front, then I don't want to be there. That mentality is going to cause, again, most people won't make it. It's a small percentage of people that really, like the LeBrons, the Kobes, the Jay-Z's, can't say Diddy no more, the 50s. You know what I mean? These guys that are really, really up there, it's a very small percentage. You're not going to be that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being the sixth man off the bench. There's nothing wrong with being Manu. You know what I mean? Like, you could still ball, or you could still be a coach, or whatever capacity. I think we need to get out of that mindset. Stop letting social media cloud your mind and thinking that you have to be the man. Because you could still be the man. You know what I mean? Like, you could still be the trainer on the team and be the man in your circle. That's okay. You know what I mean? So you have to decide, do you want to do you want to win or do you want to be popular?
Oof.
You know what I mean? Like you could. Do you want to
be
win or do you want to be popular? Some people are
Because likes
popular,
don't
but they're
get
not
you
winning.
paid.
They're
There's
not
a lot
winning.
of popular people
Exactly.
that aren't winning. The perception is like they're popping and they're doing this, but in reality,
Not winning.
there's no real motion going on
They
there
suffer
outside
in
of social
silence.
media.
Suffering in silence is the key. Suffering in silence.
Suffer.
Yeah, so definitely I think again it's just important for people to understand that winning doesn't just look like being the face
Right.
or you know what I mean? Winning comes in all different forms and fashions. Like none of us here made it to the league. We still winning though.
Still
You know
winning.
what I mean?
We're
Like
still winning.
and I feel like that's important for people to understand. That's the whole purpose of the Dreams and Nightmares podcast. So I just wanted to touch on that. And I had to drop that verse because that's one of my favorites.
That's a great line.
Mhm.
Sure. And actually, it actually translates into what I do now with the sports. Like, you know, my partner Julian, I've known him now for 11 plus years, and you know, we talked about like working together for the longest, right? Like, I had my marketing company outside of that, but one of the things that I said to him right away, I didn't have no ego. There was nothing like, oh, I need to be. But man, guess what? You lead the way. I always got to call him the captain. You know what I'm saying? And he'll call me the mayor. But like I'll be like, yo, let's create a lane. What you need for me to do, for me to be on Brunswick, and I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? And like everything sports will just be there. I don't need to have it attached to what I have going on inside. And one thing about me is I love being around people that challenge me and make me better. So it's a win-win because there's parts of me that are challenged by him. He's gonna hold me accountable. He's not a yes man. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa. Like he'll ask me my opinion on stuff, and we work really, really well together. But everyone that we have around us, same thing. Like I'm not a yes man.
Yeah.
If I think you could do more or be better or work on something, I'm gonna tell you. And then I encourage that. I encourage that to everybody. Like you got yes men and yes people around you. 9 times out of 10. Not going anywhere. It's gonna die out.
Definitely
Yeah.
no die out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have to remove your ego in business and pride or whatever it is that people get caught up in.
I feel like dealing with athletes, you gotta
Yeah.
hit them off the head with that because they've been the guy their entire life. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
you
saying?
learn that.
Honestly,
Yeah.
working in the nightclub industry because everyone comes to the door and that's
Everyone's
like
Bill,
there's a man.
everyone's Bill
Every-
Gates. Everyone's Jeff
everybody's the man,
Bezos.
you know what I
But you know
mean?
what though? I will say this, and working in the nightclub industry made everybody feel like a celebrity. Because I just felt like if you coming in, whether you coming through regular on the door, you have a table, like you're spending your dollars in this building. You could have went anywhere else. So like what I specialized in and what I thought was important, anybody coming up, hey, listen, I'm gonna treat you with the utmost respect. You know what I'm saying? There's no because a lot of that door ego stuff comes from
Yeah.
the first person that addresses.
Yeah, yeah.
You can either be the guy that thinks you lit and you talking to people crazy, or you could be the person that everybody want to see your face every weekend because you made them feel welcome to this building. And for me, that was very important because I know dudes who used to get turned away or talked crazy to, or anybody. And for me, it's like personally, I still have to see these people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I leave from this club at night, guess what? I shop in the same places they shop. I eat at the same
Eats.
places they eat. I still see a lot of them to this day, years later. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but the respect is there because I always treat everybody with the utmost, no matter what your occupation is, no matter what you're into. Because coming to that space, it was for everybody to get away and enjoy themselves. So the first initial conversation shouldn't make you feel uncomfortable. You took your time to get out the crib. You took your time to bring your money with you, your friends with you, or whatever. So guess what? We're gonna have a good time. And then sometimes if you can't get in, you can't get in. But guess what? Come back and see me. I'm gonna tell you what the reason why you didn't get in, but I'm not gonna embarrass you. You know. So
Honestly, I think it's not a therapy session, but I think, I think this stems back to like childhood. You said you had a nightmare where you put all your trust into a coach. Everybody knows that you'll run through a wall to your coach for your coach,
facts.
and you were doing everything you can control. You was balling out. You had good grades. You did what you can control, and then couple times later, AD comes. All your letters are there, and you're not getting them. You're like, wait, what? He's like, all my trust was in him. So being wronged at such a young age, like I feel like there's a childhood trauma there, which causes you to provide everyone with that high level of respect that you didn't get as a child, and which is why you walk into anywhere, everyone, oh, DP, my guy, DP, just because like you treat everyone with the respect that you want to be treated.
Well, some people also take the other side of that. They're like, well, I was wrong, so now I'm going to treat people wrong because, hey, that's what happened to me.
That's what makes him successful.
They carry that chip on their shoulder, but they don't realize they only hurting themselves.
Exactly. You turn the negative into a positive, and I feel like most successful people, if not all successful people, learn how to turn negatives into positives really fast. And if you don't know how to do that, you don't learn to do that,
very good point.
Then you'll be a victim for the rest of your life. And you'll say, man, if my coach didn't do this, I would be the man right now. I'd be in the
service.
league.
That's what
you got. I couldn't look at it that way. You want to know why? I never wanted to be that person coming back to my league. Talking about I couldn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did it in a different way. You know what I'm saying? But like that to me, I could never be that.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever thought of it that way that where it stems from, because as this conversation, I was like, hold on, honestly, it's how you are stems from that.
What you could have did. If this person hadn't done this to me, I would be here. I mean, you could play those games. Everybody could do that in life. Man, if this would have happened, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. You know what I mean?
So the biggest thing too is that, like a lot of people say, you're only as good as the next thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
And not just say like, but it's like, cool, we did that. It was cool. We succeeded at it. What's next? Always try to evolve. Always try to sharpen something, make it better, right? Like
last week's games don't put points on the board.
You feel me? If players were still beating on the season that they had their best pro season and they sat on that, they would not progress, right? Like that's why Tom Brady says, my next ring is my
favorite.
Ring,
my
favorite.
My favorite one, my next one.
Because again, I can't sit here and harp on what I just did. I gotta keep it moving. And that's how I look at it. Like, I think it's great that like, I get to help other people have like, impact on others. But I truthfully, like for me, it comes natural because it's just part of who I am. But like I'm in it. So I'm not really looking, I'm not stopping and like looking back right now because it's like, yo, what's next? What are we doing next? And then when I'm 70 and I'm old and I'm smoking a cigar on my porch on the island somewhere.
On the yacht somewhere. Me and
Well,
David
it's
say
dope.
that all the time. We say,
bro.
man, when we do this, we're going to do it. And then we do it, and then we're like, you so in it, it's like on to the next.
No, I still remember like, when we was just talking about it, but like when we brought the security shit to Providence, like now to see where y'all at with it, it's like it's dope because guess what? It's steps. Like not everybody can stay there in that environment to adjust. So it's like I could be in a high, fast-paced environment like this, or I could go real corporate, or whatever the case may be. I think that versatility puts you at an advantage over a lot of people.
One thing I will ask you is if there's a young kid, I'm sure you get this a lot, ask you, how do I become like, what advice, could you give me? Say I'm a young kid, what advice could you give me to help me, say I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to have my own marketing company. What advice would you give a young kid out there, just to kind of help them on their journey and some information that maybe you wish you knew at an earlier age?
I would say there's a few things. First, don't be afraid to be yourself. I think that nowadays, or at any era, people get so caught up in trying to please everyone else that really just be yourself. Find the things that you like to do and enjoy to do and go with it. Be a leader. So what that means is even if you're not leading other people yet, the first person you lead is yourself. Second, don't be afraid to try new things. I feel like we live in such a world where, like, even growing up, right, we would see commercials and infomercials on TV where you would think Africa or certain places were, like, super cool.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to go there. And now we're seeing, like, these places are more beautiful than the U.S.
Yeah, you see speed going to
Right.
Ethiopia
and
and Ghana.
Ghana's looking crazy right now. Shout out to Ghana.
You got to open your palate. You got to open your horizons. Don't be afraid to try new things because when you don't, you might be limiting yourself to a new opportunity because that goes for anything from new people, trying different foods, trying different hobbies that you may not know you may have been good at, right? Like you may be good at football, but you might be better at soccer. You may be good at basketball, you might be better at baseball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things like that. And then lastly, do a lot of reading. I think that we get so away from that with social media and
Mhm.
the internet, and but do a lot of reading. Knowledge is power. So like that's what you can learn about LLCs,
Yeah.
corporations, how to start a nonprofit if you want to go into nonprofit work. Like a lot of things that we want to learn in books.
Yeah,
Because it comes,
audiobooks,
yeah,
man. I mean,
audiobooks cool
audiobooks
too.
heavy. I'm in
You
my
could be
car. I don't
you be
really
in the
listen to
car,
music
yeah,
like that. Sometimes there be albums
yeah.
I download and I'm like, man, I haven't
You could
even
be
listened.
driving it and let the audiobook
I'm
play.
driving, listening to.
You
I'm
could
at the
be in the
gym.
gym, audiobook in your head. But I just think knowledge is key, and a lot of the times, right, books are there because either people have gone through the things that we haven't yet,
Mhm.
and they put the knowledge in the book, or it can help us because it's something that we want to know about. So,
Exactly. Or it's a refresher. I always tell people sometimes a book. Someone told me like, man, how many self-help books could you read? They all say the same thing. And I say sometimes it's a refresher. It may not necessarily be new information, but it's just like a reminder,
And a different perspective
a
too.
different perspective, and just like
and different people of different walks of life.
exactly,
Mhm.
Because you may read a
exactly.
book for somebody from here and then read another one. And they actually, even those people don't even know each other and may even come across the same, block in the road.
I remember when the first time I read a book and they said, man, writing things down in the journal. And the first time I heard it, I was like, was that really that, impactful to write?
Mhm.
Like, oh, it's very important that you write things down, that you have a visual. And again, the first time I read it, maybe even the first 2 times I read it, I was like, how big of a difference could that possibly make? And then I started doing it. And I said, oh, shit, there's
Yeah.
something to this. You
Definitely
know what I
something
mean?
there.
Like,
Mhm.
so yeah, that reinforcement. And I also tell people too, hey, you listen to podcasts about bullshit every day. You listen to the same song 200 times. Why
Yeah.
can't you read a few self-help books? Maybe they have some repetitive information, but regardless, it's positivity. It's positive
Very.
information. It's The
Very.
information is things that you could apply to your day-to-day life.